Welcome back to Supplement Kitchen Reviews here today with our Behind the Brand segment. And we have Combat Support Supplements on with us today. We're going to learn a little bit more about the brand, who they are, what they got going on. Let's get started. All right, so we'll jump right in and on a personal level, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Tanner. I've been involved in the fitness industry, if you will, for maybe the last 5-6 years. Primarily personal training, coaching, specifically in bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, and I've kind of always, as I learned about fitness, as I learned about different supplements and things like that, I always kind of thought, I could maybe do this. I could maybe start my own brand possibly, but it never really came to fruition until really just this last year. Things just kind of lined up and fell into place, and I was able to get our brand going. But I've been in the military for about 12 years, which is obviously where some of the theme of the name of the company comes from, and some of the product names that we have are going to be coming out. So I'm in the Utah Army National Guard. What else? Background in business. I've worked for a rather large telecommunications company for the last 10 years. So that's where some of my business acumen comes from. What else you want to know? that's a 10,000 foot view for you. But I'll tell you anything else you want to know you think is applicable.
Yeah, no, that's a good, man. I mean, it sounds like you definitely have a lot to bring to the table for the brand, especially, being in the military, things like that. First of all, I want to say thank you for your service.
Oh, thanks for your support. Thank you.
Yeah, man, definitely.
We appreciate the support everywhere we can get it, so thank you.
Yes, sir. So let's jump right into the brand. Tell us about a little bit. The name. Where'd that come from? I think you touched on it. But
yeah, no, I mean, so getting started, obviously, we were trying to figure out. I mean, obviously, the supplements can be used by anybody. But I specifically wanted to be able to give back to first responders, military, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, anyone that has that community service background. I want to be able to give back to them specifically, and so as we fiddled around with different names, we decided I'm in a combat support unit, so it was kind of an idea that kind of came out of my unit as we all kind of discussed it because they all knew I was doing this. We just thought it sounded cool, right? Because it has so many different meanings, and the slogan of the company is "Fuel Your Combat," whatever that combat may be. Maybe it's CrossFit, maybe it's strongman, bodybuilding, whatever it is. We want to fuel it, And the whole idea of the company was to have these really, really high-end, specifically formulated supplements that we could even give a pretty hefty discount to our service brothers and sisters. So that was kind of the whole idea when we first started out.
Cool. Makes sense. I mean, support your background. That's cool that your unit pulled into that. I like that.
Yeah, they've helped me. They helped me not only come up with the company name, they helped me come up with some of the product names too. So
that's what's up.
As payment, I just kind of floated them some free supplements when we got our first shipment in. So
that's awesome.
They seem pretty happy about that. Yeah.
And I hope that your friends are going to shoot you straight, so they're going to tell you if it's crap or not.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, they've been instrumental because that was the whole thing. Because there's been a lot of people that have tried our product and they and I had to fish it out of them. I'm like, no, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Be upfront. Tell me exactly what you like, what you don't like. We're still a small enough company. We make small enough orders. We can kind of change up the formula whenever we want at this point still. And it was really cool because they were, like I said, they were instrumental in really helping us dial in what we wanted to do.
That's awesome. Definitely. That's cool. So I think you touched a little bit on everything that I had here. Let's jump into current product. I have right here Deploy, the pre-workout. So where did that come from?
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of just dabbled around with what we wanted to start with. If I'm being completely honest, pre-workouts. They're very trendy. People really like them. It's one of those products though where I wouldn't say it's 100% necessary whatsoever. And that's just me being transparent. I use one. I always have. I really like it. It kind of gets me going in not only in the mental space, but I'm gearing up for the gym. It kind of gets the psychology going. It gets the adrenaline going a little bit. So we decided we were going to start with that product specifically because we kind of wanted to layer in our products one by one. We have a couple others in formulation right now that we're going to come out with soon that play off of Deploy. And so we just kind of started from the ground up, and we just decided, we want to make the best pre-workout there ever was. And so we threw the kitchen sink at it. And you probably noticed the scoop is quite large. Lots of pump ingredient, lots of nootropic ingredient, very minimal stem, so that we can open up, the blood flow and deliver more nutrients to the muscle while we're working out, as opposed to constricting them. So that was kind of the whole idea besides Deploy, and obviously the name goes along with the military theme and idea that that's the first step in your combat. So
I like it. Makes sense. Okay. And just to touch on it, I've tried a couple times. I've still got a few more to run it, but you can definitely. How do I say this without giving everything away? You can definitely tell you've taken your background and experience and putting a lot of into this. Because you have some cool ingredients. Nitrosylgene is one of those big that is big in the market right now. And you guys have dosed it right where most people like it. Like that 750 for the full serving, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people, they add the ingredient, but they don't get it to that mark where it needs to be. So,
yeah. And that was really the whole point. Yeah. That was really the whole point is we were just like, we're not playing any games. We're not going to play any of this, there's so many, and I don't want to come on here and talk bad about other brands or other companies, but I've been a supplement nerd, if you will, for a long time. I know what the minimum effective doses are. Some of these other concoctions or formulations, whatever you want to call them, they don't even have a minimum effective dose, whereas we were going for clinical effective, right? We wanted it to be fully dosed. We wanted it to hit hard, but not too hard. So that's kind of the direction we went with it. So
cool deal, man. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, cool start. I definitely think I like the Deploy now that I understand kind of the structure. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. You touched on this, but I just want to reiterate and make sure I'm right. You said your targeted audience is gym goers, bodybuilders, CrossFit, whatever, right?
Yeah, we kind of, like I said, the whole point of the branding was to really give back to our service brothers and sisters. But they're for everybody. I have a whole gaggle of soccer moms that love it. I just kind of had to give them the heads up at first, like, hey, just half a scoop. It's a big scoop. And if you're a smaller person, you don't need a full scoop. I'm 230 pounds, a bigger guy. They can obviously benefit from the whole scoop, but it's for everybody, and that's what we wanted it to be.
Awesome, cool deal. All right, so jumping in, what are the best resources that have helped you along the way with launching your brand?
That's a good question. I've been fiddling around in the weeds of biology for quite a while, but I really love my background is bodybuilding. I've done some strongman, but bodybuilding is really where I really like to be. And so just, when I first started, I've honestly been involved in it since I was probably about 20 years old. I didn't get really serious into it until I was 25 or 26. And as I started working out, obviously you kind of fall more and more in love with it. You want to learn more. So you dive a little deeper. And then you kind of start learning about these things that will enhance your workout, help you, accomplish your goals. And so I really but I can never get enough. You know what I'm saying? I still, even today, I have the benefit of being able to listen to a lot of podcasts and listen to a lot of, medical lectures, biology lectures. So I do that a lot. And that's kind of where I got, my knowledge of these different ingredients, these amino acids, these things that are natural, that are beneficial for us to, enhance our workout, increase blood flow, help clear waste products out of muscle quicker. So that's really kind of where it all started, was just, I think kind of where most people start when they really fall in love with something. They just want to learn more. And so they research and they scour the internet, they read forums, they read blogs, all that.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, when I talk about this question, we know what individual ingredients do by themselves a lot. Depending on the studies, because there are some crap studies out there, to be honest with you.
There are. You can really
Yeah, but the biggest thing is we don't know really what all these ingredients do when you combine them. That's kind of an experiment for us.
Yeah, big time. A lot of trial and error, when we were formulating it, that's kind of, we knew what we wanted. We just didn't know how long it was going to take to get there. And so, I mean, it went, the formulation went through several revisions, and we got it. The flavor was always pretty on point. It was always good. So we didn't have to mess with that too much. But as far as like the right amount of certain amount of pump products, the glycerol specifically, or the glycer pump, I should say, specifically was kind of rough because it can be a little gritty and silty if you do too much, but you got to have enough where you actually get a benefit. So, there was definitely some trial and error involved in trying to find the right ingredients to mix together to really maximize the benefit.
Definitely. So, I guess kind of to branch off of that, in this industry, it's an ever-changing environment. It seems like weekly there's something new, ingredient, a new study, whatever it may be. So, with that, how do you stay up to date with that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, so again, I'm constantly. Go ahead and take these off now. It's not surprising it was. So, so I'm constantly looking at other brands. I'm constantly looking at other formulations. I mean, Instagram has kind of figured me out. It's kind of figured like, hey, this guy likes supplements. So it just kind of feeds me something, ads all day long. And I go to the websites and I look and I read. I mean, that's just one of the things I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I have a lot of YouTube channel subscriptions of certain people I know are going to talk about certain, ingredients that are going to help with your workouts and things that you can do to be more beneficial to your whatever your goal may be, whether it's burning fat, building muscle, or both. So I mean, I'm constantly I have a really awesome subscription. I don't know if you've ever heard of. I'm trying to remember the app. It's I think it's called QX Medical. I get a lot. I have my interest plugged into there. I get a lot of research papers emailed directly to me, where I can read and I can kind of keep an eye on some of these ingredients that are newer. Because it seems like there's always new stuff coming out. Everyone's always trying to get an edge in the market, so they want to learn, they want to research, and they want to make sure that they're on top of it. So
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it is an ever-changing industry, sure, whether it be the FDA cracking down on something every week or whatever else.
Yeah, it's always back to the old Jack 3D days, right? When everyone used Jack 3D, and then they banned DMAA because it was a little powerful, but
yeah. Speaking of the old days, Jack 3D and explode.
Yeah.
Now looking back on that, I mean, I was younger back then. I wasn't taking supplements then. But looking back at it, then all explode was like some creatine and sugar.
Yeah, that's all it was. And it worked.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it definitely gave us a starting point of it gave us a strategic direction for sure. So, I mean, and I don't know if you're getting to this question, but honestly, some of those earlier products, and even they've really helped kind of, like I said, and given us a strategic direction because our next product we're going to be coming out with, well, I shouldn't say the third product we're going to be coming out with is our intro workout formula, and we're going to be putting a lot of really good stuff into that one as well. So. You mentioned creatine. You mentioned sugar, so there's gonna be a little bit of that. So
I can deal with it in an intro.
Yeah. When you're using it, right? When you're actually performing work.
Yeah, it's so true. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, one thing, with that, I always like to kind of touch on, that's another resource for brands, newer brands especially. It's what's called the Supplement SNOOP app, and because you mentioned an app, that's what reminded me. It's a monthly subscription by Justin Hall is his name. And what it is it's an app that literally uploads all kinds of formulas and things like that.
Yeah.
You can scan.
I've heard of it. I need to download it. I actually just recently, it might have been from you guys. Honestly, I can't remember where I learned of it from, but I did. It just recently came across my radar maybe about a week and a half ago. So cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend that to anybody. It is a subscription. And you also get the app plus the private Facebook group which is more like a community, it's not only brand owners, there's formulators, consumers. So I've learned so much from that group, just from reading random Facebook posts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, man.
Sign up for it because we need all the help you can get, and obviously we're all being in this space. It's interesting because obviously there's tons of competition. There's so many brands nowadays, supplement brands. It's just insane. But honestly, it's better that way because the consumer wins in the end because obviously we all drive prices down, our formulations get better, which was the whole point in doing the company anyway. So.
Yeah, and like I say all the time to people, man, it is an oversaturated market, but there's so much room for everybody.
Mm-hmm. There is, yeah. Especially if you have your right target audience, and you're really genuine in giving them what they need. And again, I never want to talk bad about anybody else. I just knew from being a kid, learning all these things about supplements, taking these supplements, I just knew when we got to this point exactly what I wanted to do with ours. And that was just put as much as we could in. It was to give them maximal benefit and still keep the cost low and give people something that they could actually build off of when they use it. So
definitely. And I mean, I can tell just from when I first got it in, looking at the label, I was like, these guys are right. They're on track. So
yeah, we like I said, we weren't messing around. We put all the good stuff in there.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we'll see how it goes and keep it going. Let's see. What is one additional thing you wish you would have known prior to launching your brand?
It's a good question. I really kind of just dove in. Like I said, I had not planned on moving the brand forward as quickly as I did, but things really just fell into place with an investor that came in, a business partner that had some experience in owning his own companies because I've never owned a company before, right? So I kind of wish maybe I would have taken a little bit more time because we're just really small. I mean, it's just me, my business partner. I got a couple of buddies that help out here and there. We don't have any employees. It might have been more beneficial to have really secured a better startup, maybe some capital, so that we could have launched more products all at once to kind of show people like, okay, because obviously deploy kind of sets the stage with the name and with what the product is, but it would have been more beneficial in my opinion to have all, with 3 or 4 products coming out, they all built off each other with that, pre, intra, and post workout idea that we were trying to institute. And so things have been moving a little bit slower than I would have liked, but I kind of feel like that's just how it had to play out based upon the decision that we made to just launch. But that probably would have been the number one thing because I don't regret our formula. I don't regret our branding. I don't regret any of the lessons that I've learned thus far. I think it would have just been better for the consumer. That's all.
And definitely understandable. When you create a brand and you're wanting to expand that brand, you want your consumer to be able to come and have a one-stop shop.
Yep.
Yeah. So I definitely could see that, but you'll get there, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like I said, I'm really happy with the growth we've had thus far. We really haven't done a whole lot of marketing other than just word of mouth locally yet. I've got some competitions coming up that we are now sponsoring just here locally in Utah for strongman powerlifting, so that's going to be great. I'm doing my first bodybuilding show in October, which I think obviously will help with some exposure and helping get the brand further along. And I'm kind of just dabbling, learning the social media marketing aspect of it. So I definitely don't regret it because it's been a wild ride. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot. I just like I said, as far as the consumer, because I have people ask me all the time, like, when's your protein coming out? When's your intra-workout coming out? And when's your vitamin packs coming out? And they know what I'm going to do, and they're so excited. And I'm like, when I can,
yeah.
As the capital's coming in, so.
Heck yeah, man. Awesome. Sounds like you got a lot in works. But that is another thing, you know, with starting a brand, and I tell people a lot, is that initial consumer, you want, it's not all, I mean, it is about getting new customers. It is. But I think a big part of it is having the customer return.
Yes.
So hearing that is definitely awesome, because I think that plays a huge part into brands expanding. And like you said, word of mouth is definitely big for smaller brands, especially when you're locally growing.
Some big brands out there really well, loyalty from their consumers that just incredible. The hardest thing to compete with is trying to build the brand loyalty for your brand and trying to back the consumer and keep them coming back. You know, that's all.
I think you're starting to break up a little bit.
Really? Full bars.
It's getting there. There you go.
Okay, sorry.
You're good. So yeah. Like you said, that's something that I tell a lot of small brands, talking to them through business aspects. It is about getting new customers, yes. But I'm a firm believer in having that return customer, because if they buy this and they like it, then you have those other two products. Next, they're going to come back, get this. Get the two products.
Yep.
So, cool deal, man. Awesome. I'm excited to see how this goes with you guys and kind of keep following along. So, let's see.
I can't wait to see.
I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what would be one area you would change about the industry if you had the power to do so?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know, probably it's tricky, man, because I mean, obviously, there's so many ways to market something to make it sound really, really good, and like you know, and again, it's sad to see a lot of the consumers get taken advantage of because they're not educated. And maybe some people would say, well, yeah, they should have become educated. Well, maybe, but it's probably better if you just do the right thing, you know, to begin with. So I kind of wish that, you know, brands and companies were just more transparent overall. I get people all the time asking me questions about this supplement, that supplement, does this work, does that work, is it beneficial, you know, and I'm straight up with people, even about my own supplements. They're like, hey man, is it, you know, beta-alanine, is it really that great? And, you know, when I really get down to brass tacks, I'm like, well, honestly, you might get a 2 to 3% increase in, you know, workout performance, but people like the tingle. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the honest truth. So I kind of wish that there was more of that and less of, oh no, it's great, it's totally going to pack on 10 pounds of muscle and you're going to feel like, you're going to feel like Superman. There's a lot of misdirection, and I wish that wasn't part of the game.
Yeah, I have to agree, for sure. It's crazy, especially, I was talking to someone about this the other day. You see these ads for certain supplements, and it says, take our supplement and you'll gain 300 times muscle mass in a week.
Right.
Is that realistic? No.
Yeah. Show me the study, right? And then you get into the weeds of the study, and you see the parameters that were set up and how they, you know, it's just nuts. It's probably someone that was completely untrained, never lifted a weight in their life. They put him through, you know, a basic strength training routine, and 6 weeks later, you know, what do you know? You make gains and make this, you know, one ingredient and just one supplement look like it's the best thing on planet Earth.
Yeah, and it's a lot of those things are setting our youth up for fail because they see this advertisement, and 17-year-old, what are they gonna? They're gonna be like, oh, I take this. I'm gonna look like this guy.
That was me, man. That was me 100%. That was back when the magazines were a thing, and you know, you had muscular, you had your I can't remember the name of the magazine now. Was it Muscular Development? There we go. You had all these magazines at the time, and I was reading them. I was seeing the supplement ads, and don't get me wrong, they're good at what they do, right? They're really good at what they do. They take some jacked, ripped guy that every young teenager wants to be, and they show him drinking a weight gainer shake or whatever it is, and you go and buy that, you know, because want to look like that guy. And there's just a lot of that, you know. So I wish there was just more transparency. So I think we'll get there. A lot of little brands like me, you know, that's kind of the benefit, is we're kind of shaking things up, or, you know, like Deploy having a 30, you know, it basically has 3 times the ingredient or at least double the ingredient that most companies have, right? You get your pre-workout, they usually have like a 9-gram scoop, maybe up to like a 15-gram scoop, and there's very few that have a bigger scoop than 25 grams. There's only, I mean, I could be completely mistaken. There's only 3 or 4 that I can think of off the top of my head. So, you know, that's probably the biggest change I would like to see happen.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm on the same page with you. That and one other thing. I'm going to go on a tangent. Influencers, man, because, you know, that's another thing, is influencers are really setting the standard for, like, the body image, when realistically we're all different. Age,
yeah,
habits, whatever.
Yeah, I you know, I coach a lot of clients. I talk about this all the time. They get going on a program, and maybe they're not losing weight as fast as they want to, they're not building muscle as fast as they want to. I understand that. So, what do you get? 40 million? Or no, 4 million? I'm sorry, my math's horrible. Those are all the genetic freaks that you're seeing on Instagram. You're seeing the 1 to 10%. You know, I'm just using America as an example. You could do this all over the world, right? And they compare themselves to these other people, and it's like, no, you have to compare you to you. You can't. You're not them. You don't have their genetics. All you can do is work with what you have, and do your best. Be consistent. Work hard. You're gonna see growth. You're gonna see progress, but it might not be to the extent that guy or that girl has, and that's just because you can't pick your mom and dad. You know, and that's okay. That's what makes you you. It's fine. You don't need to look like them. You need to be the best version of you can be.
So true, man. That's talking about, like, impacting people differently is the reviews. You know, when someone asks me about a pre-workout or some supplement, how did it impact me? Well, it impacted me this way, but you know, the first question that I always ask them is, what have you taken in the past, for one? Because that sets the kind of standard of where you need to go. And then from there, they've got to understand that what impacts me, it may not impact them. You know? So there's so many variety of factors and so much unknown in this space, especially like I talked about when we combine all these ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
We're a big experiment.
Yeah. I mean, one of the ingredients we put in ours, I mean, it was really kind of a ballsy move, but I wanted to do it because I really liked it. So we've got Raoul's sign in ours, Alpha-Yohimbine, and that's something that's like, it's a way cleaner version of yohimbine than some of the other versions out there, like the bark extract and whatnot. So most people respond pretty well to it, but it's interesting, the reviews I get. My neighbor actually was like, yeah, man, I've lost 11 pounds since I started using your pre-workout. And he said, and, you know, he tells me he hasn't made any other change besides he's just using my pre-workout now. Again, that's very anecdotal, I understand. But, you know, maybe he's just a hyper responder to that ingredient, you know. I had another person tell me, yeah, I really love it, but I've noticed that when I take it, I really have to go to the bathroom, you know. And not in a bad way, but like they need to go and use the toilet. So there's just, yeah, I mean, you're totally right. Everyone is different in every way, and it's going to affect people differently. Most of the reviews I get from people are, it's the best tasting workout I've ever had. I love the pump. It's got super clean energy. There's no crash. So a lot of good stuff. But there is that, you know, there are those little things here and there that people say that I'm paying attention to and writing down, so that I can kind of, you know, get a bigger sample or a bigger cross-sectional area of people, if you will, that are experiencing different things that maybe we might need to tweak in the future. Just because, again, at the end of the day, I care about the consumer and I want them to have a good experience. So.
Yeah, definitely. Feedback is important. You know, doing what I do this as a hobby. I don't get paid. I don't get anything from it. I just do it, like I said, as a hobby. One thing with that, I've had brands send me their product, and we've given them our honest opinion and put out a video.
Yeah.
And we've been threatened to be sued over slander.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. You know,
So,
when there's money involved, and I get it, and it's sad because it's like, well, no, you sent your product to us.
yeah.
And again, the whole point of your page is I like, and again, if you go to our website, again, the first thing you'll see is all the reviews of people that are using our product, and we don't filter those reviews. We don't delete any of them, but we want the feedback. We want to know, because again, we're such a small company. Our batch size, it's really easy for us to change up the formulation if we need to, based upon consumer feedback. So yeah, that is sad. That's unfortunate, because you're really limiting yourself. You're really limiting your ability to grow and learn and make your product better if you're just not going to listen to feedback.
Yeah. And eventually, the industry will weed those people out eventually. So yeah. I'm a firm believer in the people who are doing it right will make it the furthest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I guess, where can our viewers find you and your brand?
Yeah, so we're really trying to gear up and give everybody we're trying to get as much exposure out there as we can. Obviously, our website, it's www.combatsupportsupplements.com. Our Instagram page is Combat Subs, or @CombatSubs, I should say. Also, our Facebook page, the same tag, same handle. We'll slowly get on to Snapchat and TikTok and all the fun social media platforms. But right now, primarily the big ones are Instagram, Facebook, and our website.
Cool deal. For anyone watching, I'll tag the website and the Instagram down below. Cool.
Yeah, and people can email me directly if they like. It's combatsubs@gmail with 2 P's. And then, they can get a hold of me that way too. Any questions they have or comments or whatever.
Awesome. Cool deal. So now that's all the main questions that we had for today. I like to always go like a fun personal last one. If you could be a superhero with any superpower, what would it be and why?
Superhero, I'm a huge Captain America fan. And it's interesting because you could argue he doesn't really have any superpowers. He's just superhuman. But I just like how everything about him is just better. He's stronger, he's faster, he's as honest as they come, hard worker. I like all the qualities about Captain America. I've always been a big fan, so I'll stick with Captain America.
That's funny. When I put that question in here for this interview, I was like, I bet this guy's going to say Captain America.
You're like, this dude's a soldier. He's a big meathead. There's no way he's not picking Captain America.
Oh man, well that's awesome. So the last thing I always like to ask you is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to cover?
I don't think so. I think this interview's been great. I think your questions were very good and on point with what the idea of your channel is and what you're doing. So yeah, I think we're good.
Cool deal, man. Well, other than that, I just want to remind everybody, I'm linking everybody down in the bio, the website, the Instagram will be down there. If you need to reach out to them, try and get a hold of them. If you can't get a hold of them, reach out to me. I'll get in touch with you. We'll figure it out for you. But other than that, man, I appreciate you joining me today. And if you have any other questions or need anything from us, just holler at us and we'll be in touch.
Great. Thanks, man. No, I appreciate the opportunity and your patience and time and all that. Thanks again.
All good, man. Thanks for joining us. I hope you take it easy.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
See you.